That was you, Martin.
I know.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I'd like to raise a point of order on behalf of 3 members of the council. Literally within minutes of this evening's meeting, we've been provided with documents which we have to consider when making decisions at this meeting. The law requires us to have documents so that we can ask questions within a reasonable time, and I do not believe that handing, and it's happening so often, documents for us to consider serious matters of council within minutes of a meeting is appropriate. So I will be asking at each item where we've been given a document for that item to be deferred, so that we've got time to read it for the next meeting. It's got to stop, because this is why we're not doing.
Please put your recording on the table in the corner, which is reserved for recording.
I raised a point of interest about this, and I choose to ignore your comments about my recording equipment, as I did at the previous meeting.
Okay, agenda item 1. Apologies, receive apologies for absence. Thank you very much. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members are asked to declare if required any disclosable peculiar interest they may have in respect of items on the agenda, or any other interest they may have in respect of items on the agenda. Do you have any declarations of interest? So let us know. Okay, thank you. Item 3 then, minutes, which is appendix A, minutes of the last meeting, held on the 11th of October. Any comments and questions concerning Councillor Brooks?
Yes, I'm not going to repeat where I pointed out mistakes, and I'd just like it to be noted that when I email the council with the mistakes as requested, I'd like it to be taken notice of. It's pointless me sending in an email saying that something's wrong for me to just have to repeat it in a meeting.
Are you making a comment on it?
Yes, that is my comment, but I've already sent in an email with highlighting the errors, and they're ignored, and it's unacceptable for my emails to be ignored.
You wish to speak?
Yes, I'm just a bit confused, because I think that I must have got the wrong end of the discussion at the last meeting, and it all occurred when there were 2 people proposed for the planning committee. And
So, can you tell us which item? Are you on 525?
I'm very confused. That's why I'm saying I'm very confused, because it was definitely discussed at the last meeting, and it was stated.
52517. I think I was talking about.
52517.
Well, yes, but it was more than just that, and it had been stated just prior to that, or about that time, that there was going to be a look at the committees this meeting. And that's why I said, well, what's the point of bringing 2 people onto this? Is the reason, not because I didn't like these people, but just the fact that it was going to be all rearranged. I thought, what is the point of bringing 2 people on if it's going to be arranged at the next meeting? But apparently, it isn't. So I'm a bit confused.
We are just to clarify what we're looking at.
It's not there. What I'm saying is not there.
Are you saying the minutes are not accurate?
I'm asking where it says.
The councillor, as I am saying, is that our minutes are not accurate.
Councillor Brooks.
Because right, where is the item on the agenda that arose from the last meeting? Because it's not clear here where it was recorded. Yes, but it was about the actual happening at this meeting. I understood, and
I'm a bit of a loss, so I wasn't at the meeting. So I asked the clerk for advice. So you're looking at.
To be discussed under item 10 on the agenda tonight. Yes, it's under item 10.
But it's not minutes.
no, it's not.
Let me just clarify. Are you saying that there's something missing from the minutes?
Yes, because it doesn't. Yes, because it doesn't refer to the fact that these committees are going to be looked at this meeting in the minutes.
So I can't comment.
No, you were
the
there.
meeting. Is this something that's sort of debated in
Yes, it was.
the meeting?
It was because, Councillor Romney also raised, I don't know if the words is an objection that we weren't considering it when we were told that we would be considering it. So I think when objections like that are raised, it should be minuted, because otherwise we never get anything sorted.
I mean, I can probably clarify what I said. What I said was that why was it that we were considering again in closed session a member being on the planning committee when we still have 5 outside bodies, which is now the 3rd month that I've managed to mention the outside bodies that we still haven't appointed people to, and that was what I was alluding to.
Yes.
That we were putting person on the planning committee. We still have committees with only 2 people on, and we still have outside bodies that we haven't appointed people to now for 3 months. And that was what I alluded to. And the chairman did say that things were all being done. We did reassure me that things were going to be sorted out this meeting.
This meeting, yes, that was what that's why I didn't think it should go on the planning committee. That was the reason.
Sorry, Chairman, this is why it's important that these things are minuted, because, as I've said to another member, I can count on more than one set of hands how many items are deferred by this council and never come back. We've got very poor governance at the moment.
Deputy Chairman, you chaired the meeting.
Yes, I chaired the last meeting. I think the minutes are correct, but as Councillor Longley said, there was further debate, but the minutes really just put down the action point. And I mean, I think it's academic because item 10 on the agenda is constitution of working groups, so we have brought it.
But it wasn't the constitution that we were talking about.
That's the point.
When I brought the question up, it was stated by the person who was the acting chair at that meeting that all of these things were going to be done in this meeting, not a constitution for a working party. That was never mentioned. It was the reorganisation, because you brought your things up again, and I said, well, what is the point of having 2 new members on the planning when it's all going to be rearranged next meeting? And that is not what is stated on the minutes, and it certainly isn't recorded there.
I'll come back to you again, so I can't remember on this.
Well, I don't think I can really add much to it. You know, we did have a debate. The minutes are the minutes. And we are today looking at working groups, steering group strategy, constitution of working groups. I don't know what else we can do.
Anybody else wish to come in with this debate? I think we've debated it. So I'll call for a vote. We have a proposal for the minutes as they are. Peter proposes, we have a seconder.
I'll second.
Adam seconds that, so Adam seconding that. All those in favour?
So Michael, so I need 3 extensions.
Okay, let's, have you got the
Michael, Pete,
1,
Paul
2,
and
3,
Jean.
4, got 5 in favour.
5.
Those against? Abstentions, that's those that weren't there must abstain.
3.
1, 2. You voted
Against, yeah.
Right, now this is abstentions then.
Oh, sorry, abstentions now.
Abstentions.
You
1, 2,
went
3.
Michael, you went.
I know.
Michael.
Abstention.
So just so you're clear on that,
Got 5 votes for, 3 against,
Can we
3
just have,
abstentions.
excuse me, can we just have 1 meeting, please?
Excuse me.
Right, can you please call out just
5 for, 3 against, and 3 abstentions.
just 5, 3, 3, the motion is carried.
But one councillor left early.
Well, these are things I point out in my email and are just totally ignored. For the last 6 or 7 months, we've had the most
We
appalling
had a vote,
minutes.
the vote has been carried. We're now moving on to agenda item 4.
No.
We're now on agenda item 4, which is chairman and members' reports. Chairman's report, you've already had.
People forget this is a legal document and it's a joke in the last 6
Councillor
months.
Brooks, please proceed.
Yes.
No, not you right.
Any other written reports?
No, none of it
Okay, we have verbal reports.
Yes, please.
Right.
Chairman. Yes, I deputised for you at the Citizens Advice Bureau annual meeting. I have the papers here which I will pass on to the clerk if anyone wants to look at them. Their financial position seems fairly secure. I think they're doing sterling work. They've got a new chief executive. They've had a change of chair of trustees, fairly new finance director. For every pound that is put in, they reckon they make £15 worth of benefit for the people of Rutland. And as they're based over the road, I think Oakham does get its lion's share, would perhaps be going too far, but it does get a strong return from the very modest sum I think we put forward. I did say to the finance director, I don't think they've indented for the grant we offered, and he did say he will liaise with the clerk to do that. The event was held at Barnsdale Lodge. It was quite a pleasant occasion. As I say, I liaised with most of the committee, had a talk with the ward lieutenants, and all in all, I think our support was well noted. The chair, the mayor of Uppingham was also there, and we were both noted. So I will pass this on to the clerk for anyone who may wish to read it. Thank you.
Very much. That agenda item 5, councillors' questions. So, right, no questions. Agenda item 6 is the clerk's report.
Just very quickly, just remind everybody that the level of training services on Sunday, at 2:30. Late night shopping event and the light switch on Monday, the 11th of December at 7 p.m. Just on matters, the railings, the painting of the railings at both the Barleythorpe corner is now been completed, and Wicksteed have today started the repair of the wet board at Voices. And what I'm going to do from now on the clerk's report is that when there's any forthcoming training, which is on there, and if anybody wishes to attend training, just let me know.
Chairman, can I sit, please?
You can, yes.
Can I ask the clerk what is the latest? The time is 2:30. What time are we supposed to be there on Sunday at the latest? I think they usually say like quarter of an hour to be seated.
Yeah, the invitation says 2:30.
It's usually quarter of an hour before the event. I just thought I would explain to those who are going, because they have a procession.
2:30 invitation.
Could I ask the clerk to check? It's a very good point, Joyce, because it just says 2:30 invitations. Could perhaps the clerk check that and then email everybody?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. I know this is for information only, but I'd like to know who is doing the light switch on. Have we got any arrangements for that? Do we know what's happening?
Covered later on, Chair, in the PPWG.
Right, thank you.
Agenda item 7 is deputations by public. No? This one then is working groups. So on that, the neighbourhood plan steering group, the action updated action plan you had, I understand the tables missing that. Has gone out to everybody. On one I asked the chairman of the neighbourhood plan steering group to come along. Thank you very much for coming. Who I really like to talk to now to amplify some of the things that's going on.
Okay, thank you very much. I just really wanted to bring the council up to date with where we are with the neighbourhood plan steering group. And what's going around at the moment is if you like, our journey. Started, I think, in 2016. and we've, out of the 8 steps in our journey, we've completed 6 of them. So we've done a lot of public consultation. We set up the steering group, obviously. We've issued the big survey that, as you probably know, went out to 5,500 homes in Oakham and Barleythorpe. Sorry, is there one short?
Yes.
Would you mind sharing?
We're sharing.
Oh, they will share. We'll share.
And we had about 1,500 responses, which was brilliant. And the team, which is quite high, and the team steering group entered all the information onto the system, and we produced a report, which I think you've seen. A summary report from the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group, and that's also gone to RTC. So that's where we are at the moment. What we're now looking at is the steps 7 and 8 on that map that you've got, which is preparing objectives and policy statements and a draft plan. So currently we're in consultation with 2 potential providers. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with one of them. A second meeting this Friday, the steering group are coming together to meet with the other provider, and we will make a decision as to who we would like to work with. Then we come to you, because obviously you're the ones who are going to raise the funds for us to do this. I've had a conversation with the chairman about that. I would like to think that the plan will be out for consultation in the second quarter of 2018. I would like it to have been before March, April time, but I'm hopeful that we'll go out to consultation by June at the latest. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you tonight, obviously we're interested in getting information from you about what you want from us in terms of the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group. But one thing that we need to do is to recruit more members to the group, primarily because I have here an example of one of the neighbourhood plans. This is a document that's produced for Wellesbourne and Walton. Wellesbourne is Warwickshire, Stratford upon Avon way. It's not a huge community. I think there's about 6,000 people in it. Their neighbourhood plan runs to 123 pages. So, and I've just printed off the first 10, which gives you the kind of the flavour of it. But there's a huge amount of work that we're going to have to do, even with working with consultants, to put the plan together. I don't know whether any of you have seen the Langham one. Have you seen the Langham plan? It's really comprehensive. There's a lot of work there. So we do need to get more people involved in working to make sure that the plan truly reflects what the community wants from its neighbourhood plan. So I think we've also talked to your chairman about membership of this group, this committee, council being on the steering group, but also we need to extend the membership to include others. Funding is going to be a major piece of work. We need the money, obviously, to take the work forward. The other thing I'd like to know is, what is it that you want from us in terms of report? I know that you get a report from us, and I think that's included in the minutes for your meetings. But are there other things that you want from us in terms of information which will help you to support what we're trying to do?
We can't debate it for this point. That isn't something like that. Your request is very good. Thank you for that. What we'll do is to bring that to the December meeting of the club. We put that on the agenda for December. We shall request that from the club, and then we can debate that, and then we come back to the steering group.
Chairman,
So have you got a note?
I've got questions based on the chairman's report that's been given. Chairman.
This is to receive reports, not to debate.
Okay.
No, but Chairman, it's an agenda item, and I have some questions on your report, please.
Then you didn't. There's no members' questions. It's not.
No, they're an agenda item, and you can't just table a report to us. You've allowed it in the past because that is our right. I have questions about the funding, the new grant thing on there, and also to make a comment about your style of report. Because if you're then you're making it, Chairman. Sorry, no, I'll stand up. You're making it up because you give us this for the working group. No, well, I'm asking to speak.
I'm not inviting you.
Because you ask us to
Councillor
approve
Brooks, I'm
things
not
in this neighbourhood,
inviting you.
this working group for the promotions of Oakham. Now you're saying we can't even do that.
So we're still on.
Yeah, but he doesn't want me to speak. That is the matter. He doesn't want me to speak. That's all it is. He says we can't discuss these things, but we do at every other meeting discuss it and improve the content.
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just one other thing. We do need to, as I said, to recruit members. So one thing we will need to do is to ask for some funding to support an advert in the local press to advertise for additional members of the team.
And once that's agreed, I'll soon I'll bring that to council, and then council will debate it, and often council has to approve it.
It kind of leads on, there's another point about, I think we've spoken about before, about the planning committee having access to funding, but on a much more flexible basis, and whether that could be, if the clerk could hold a small budget for us of £100 or something that we could call off against received expenses, so it removes the delay.
Chairman, can I raise a point of order? This is not the place for members of the public to speak to the council. If I'm not allowed to speak on the item, I'm sorry, then the public can't.
As chairman.
No, but it's not your fault, sir.
Brooks, as chairman, I will answer that. Working groups do not have delegated powers. Right. So the working group has to make a request to council to spend the money. Council then has to resolve it.
So even a council employee can't hold that one out of half, as it were. So
not for this sort of funding. No.
Oh,
I appreciate where you come from and your concern, but that's our financial regulations.
Thank you.
We must abide.
And the only other thing I would say is anything that you need from us in terms of information to help you provide support from us, and that might be something that.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Is that you're finished now?
Thank you.
Can I ask,
Wait a minute, I've got to come back.
ask the chairman the question?
Come back to Councillor Brooks. Now, Councillor Brooks, do you wish to say something?
Yes, I want to speak and have the opportunity to speak on your report and also the promotions of Oakham working group. So how do you want me to do it?
Well, we haven't.
It's all included in that agenda item. I sort of feel that we should be separated.
At the moment, we do the neighbourhood plan.
Okay, so on the neighbourhood plan report, you talk about future grants. At the last meeting, which you were present, not the last meeting, I asked the question, when the local clerk was extended, one of the conditions of his employment was that he was to acquire the £9,000 grant to fund what this organisation was doing. You turned to the clerk and it was very half-heartedly answered, it's done. There is nothing in your report to say that that has been acquired. All we know is that the taxpayer has paid for it this year. I am rather, I don't know what the word is. You know, we have people who are wanting to do a job who have no funding, basically, because this council has not gone out as it should have done it in the beginning and obtained the grants. And I want to know from you, Chairman, this evening, a straight answer. Has the council applied for at least the £9,000 grant, which is not mentioned in your report? And that's what I will say on that, because that's important. We need to know where we are. And if not, why not?
Would you want me to answer your question?
Yes, I've just finished.
First of all, the local clerk completed an application, and then I was on one application, and then found that the applications cannot be retrospective. The application must be made before any money is spent. That didn't overly concern me for two reasons. One, because this council resolved to have a budget for the neighbourhood plan steering group, and that budget is still well within credit, and that budget will pay, it looks as though it will pay for the next stage of development. Secondly, the maximum we are likely to be able to get is £9,000, and it is anticipated the neighbourhood plan steering group will require a lot more than £9,000 before it completes its work. The Currently, the neighbourhood plan steering group is, as Chris has already alluded to, is seeking consultants to recommend to council to use, and one of those we've already got the costing in for that, and the £9,000 would go towards that. The other one, presumably the figures will come out in a similar sort of manner, and we can apply for the grant in tranches. So we will be applying, now that we know it can't be retrospective. The clerk, or office assistant who was doing it for Alison, will be making a grant application once the steering group has decided which consultant it wishes to recommend to council, and once council has resolved to use a consultant. At that point, the grant application can be completed. Thank you. Anything else?
Chairman, can I respond to that? Can I respond to that, please?
No.
Well, it's normal that we can respond. I would like to thank. Yeah, and I would like to thank you for your honesty at last on the subject, because I actually think it's appalling that the council didn't put in grant applications when they should have done, because they ridiculed me for suggesting it after I went to Rutland County Council and went through a training thing, and they were told that the grants will probably be run out by this year. And we just billed the taxpayers, and you're just saying you're not overly concerned. Well, I am. I think it's appalling that we're expecting the taxpayers to pay £9,000 just like that, and it's not a concern. But thank you anyway for being open about it at last.
Question, Chairman, on the budget issue, and it's if you are successful in the grant application, is that in addition to the remaining budget that's on plan, which seems a little light for the amount of effort that I'm reading in?
Well, the budget, this is the budget that was agreed by council in May.
Okay, and is there a mechanism to come back?
But it is a budget, I'm sure aware. Budget setting is a management tool to do with finances, not setting concrete.
Okay.
So if the neighbourhood plan, it needed more money, it would come back to council and make that request.
Okay.
And the council would decide. I think, David, did you want to come in on
No,
this?
it's fine, Chairman.
Second one then is the promotion and publicity working group. Report.
You're chair.
If you wish to.
Just run through this quickly, because there was a question thrown earlier. We had a meeting last night, just a few things that I want to point out to everybody. I've spoken to Caroline Acton, because originally we wanted to be next to the tree ready for the switch on, but after a discussion we now are going to be outside the chamber, outside on the road. I've been in touch with RATS, and they are going to provide us with a celebrity to switch on the lights at late night shopping, along with Michael. The celebrity is Snow White.
Oh.
Snow White.
It's at 7 p.m.
A little bit on. You need to be down there before 7, please, Michael. Ready for the 7 o'clock switch on.
7 o'clock, sorry, did you say 7?
7 o'clock switch on for it's on the report.
Right.
So yes, Snow White and Michael will be switching on the lights. Martin and Nick have or did volunteer to man the chamber and to invite some local businesses in. There's been a lot of friction about it today, so I'm not really sure where we are with that now, so we might have to come back to you about that. But ideally, they wanted to set up in here local businesses and invite everybody down to have a drink with the public and do like a, meet and greet type thing. And
Where's the friction?
sorry?
I just wondered why there was friction. I think it's fantastic.
I'm going to briefly explain when I'm permitted.
I've also had a gentleman speaking to me about having some more vintage cars. That was very popular last year when we had cars down there and people it's close during the band concerts. Armed Forces again are very keen to have an Armed Forces Day during the band concerts again. I'm looking to speak to all the schools. So the first band concert, instead of having lyrical rock at the beginning and at the end, we're looking at having a school
Extravaganza.
that wonderful Joyce. Yeah, so that we can invite all the schools to come and play on the band or do some singing, but I will elaborate on that at a later date when I've actually been in touch with the schools. A couple of the things that we've chucked into the equation is maybe an Easter egg hunt in Closed during Easter time, obviously. I think that's about it. Oh, and the heritage leaflet, we're going to ask Alison to forward that to Coin and get it updated for us. That's it, thank you.
That's nice that lots of things are happening this year. Well done.
Thank you.
Councillor Brooks?
Yes, there is an explanation required.
You've got the floor.
Yes. Nothing against the promotions of Oakham Working Group, which is mainly Sally Ann and Adam and Joyce. There, wait, Joyce. You might have heard there listed all the things they want to do next year. Now, I'll be quite blunt and say they don't have council approval, and that's all I will say on that. This council approved that this chamber would be used on the late night shopping, and we were given a budget of £250. For various reasons, personal reasons, whatever, the member on the group didn't want to do it. So an email was sent out, and myself and Councillor Woodley volunteered to do something. The resolution of the council is that basically, and I can't remember it word for word, there was a suggestion, no orders, a suggestion that we put on wine, mince pies, and showcase the council. So, fair enough. I decided, and I apologised to the council, as the clerk wrote to me today, after deciding to work with Mr Woodley, that perhaps just showcasing the council might be a little bit boring. So we would support independent businesses that were out in the sticks areas of the town, and everything was going well. We liaised with the working group members until today the clerk wrote to me and said I'm in breach of a number of standing orders. We don't want to argue with the council, so me and Mr Woodley have decided, even though the invitations have been sent out to all the dignitaries, including our MP, we are not doing the event from today.
Thank you.
And it's with great disappointment.
Anything else?
And I would like people to note that the working group have said in here that they're going to have vintage cars and things next year. Well, the council hasn't said they want that.
Can I just...
So I'm not trying to make a big issue, but you know, if the rules are going to apply to us, then it needs to apply to everybody. Thank you, Chairman.
Before I come on to you, Adam, just for clarification that that Sally Ann will confirm this. My impression was that you were reading out events that you are looking to do. You were not selling.
I've not looked at anything.
No. Adam, I think you might just come in.
Well, then, I'm going to point out the inaccuracies that Councillor Brooks has alluded to. This document came in late today because we only had the meeting last night. And as usual, we put the people that are there and the date and the time. Apologies that it's so late, but we had the meeting last night. It was called, and both Nick and Martin were invited. Due to other commitments, neither of them could make it. Neither of them are on the group, but they were invited so they could have input because of the issue about doing the event at the late night shopping. Everything that we discussed last night was a view to what we are going to do, which is what you just alluded to, Chairman. Everything here will come to council, will be formally approved and accepted. This is part of the budget proposals. This is part of the procedures that we use to make sure that we can do things lawfully. The only reason that Martin was challenged over carrying out a breach of standing orders is that without any notice or information to the council, he contacted people and invited them to an event. That was a unilateral decision. That is a breach of standing orders. Having a camera on the table is a breach of standing orders. Martin repeatedly breaches standing orders, and that's fine. You can do that, Martin. I've got a problem. You breach standing orders as often as you like. This working group and no other councillors have breached standing orders. The reason we did the amendment this evening and brought it to council and tabled it late is so that then we could turn around to the council as a whole and say that the promotions working group would like the council to at least accept the proposal or the idea put forward by Martin and Nick, because we thought it was a good idea. The poster that Martin put on his blog was actually put on our Facebook today. It's now been taken off again. Don't come to the council. No councillor should come to this council and give a smoke and mirrors interpretation of where they feel they have been hard done by. This council is working really hard to put events on and is following procedures using strategic documents that we have got as our tools.
But it doesn't always work like that.
Well, it wouldn't
No,
work.
I will stand up because I've got to respond. I have to respond to that because they put on events this summer which were not approved by the council. They don't come to the council with every fine detail. Like we had a fun fair. We didn't approve that fun fair in Cuts Close. Yeah, but I'm pointing out to you, Chairman, that he is, that the councillor has accused me of something and says they don't do it. He's accusing me of lying. Thank you, Adam. But I'm pointing out to members that basically that they have not sought authority for everything they've done.
Comment on the promotions of publicity working group proposal. Yes,
Just that it was a shared responsibility between me and Councillor Brooks. So people using Martin as a singled out example, I take full shared responsibility. So if any breach of standing orders, they apply to me as well. Please feel free to.
Minute back. Okay, agenda item 9.
Oh, sorry, no, I just proposed that, it says here, we note the item, so let's note it.
And this is the problem, Chairman, is that we're not even approving what they're doing. That's, sorry, Chairman, a point of order. A point of order. What the councillor is, I'm pointing out that you. Yes, I am, because the agenda says we just note this. So every time we just note this, we are not giving approval. So they have no approval for what they're doing. I'm not against it, but we need to sort out a proper order of how we do things. As Councillor Lucas is on that committee has pointed out, the agenda says just note it. The agenda doesn't say approve it. So they have no authority to do anything either.
If these letters have gone out, we need to do something that's good about that. I don't know what we're going to do, but I think it's very important that we look at that immediately. Because if those letters have gone out, we need to know who they've gone to and how are we going to get out of it. That's my only question, because it's embarrassing.
Well, the email.
Well, they're all
The
letters.
email with the poster inviting people to late night shopping. It's hideous.
Sorry, Chairman, I need to come back on a point here because Councillor Brooks has made a second inaccurate comment on this, because in actual fact at a previous meeting, this council, because of Councillor Brooks interjecting and saying that the council should resolve to accept the expenditure of the late night shopping, did have a proposal, did have a seconder, and did propose it. Well, you just said we didn't.
No, but I'm saying tonight we're not being
So I'm
asked
just
to
fed
approve
up with
it.
this Councillor Brooks lying all the time.
It's not, and excuse me, Chairman, I want to object to being called a liar repeatedly. I'm not calling Councillor Lower. I'm objecting to him calling me a liar.
I'm going to suspend the meeting for 5 minutes to let everybody just cool down, and then we'll start again. Okay, so the meeting is now 22. We will read.
And I have no problem with what we approved.
Will you? Will you all please just spend 5 minutes or what you like, and we'll start the meeting as the council.
No, because it's only
Now in your own time to find
we're looking for it. We haven't need to have the No, it doesn't. No, this.